Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Presently, I'm in a little city called Itta Bena, Mississippi, my hometown. Sort of like somewhat a vacation. Kids are out of school now. My mother-in-law lives here. My wife is crazy about her, so she comes down as often as she possibly can, which usually is once a year, to lend a helping hand to make things a little brighter for moms. But a moment ago, I was outside meditating and reflecting on life, and a wonderful message came to me. And I wanted to share it with you earlier while I could perhaps recall it. But the garbage truck was coming down the street making all kinds of noises, so I've had to wait a little while. And I'm hoping that I can recall it enough in its intensity to be able to serve some purpose in this effort. It basically has to do with life. I'm always thinking about life as it concerns you, the people, not just some of you, but all of the people. I've recognized something within myself that needs to be satisfied, and that is to see the human race in its condition, wherever the situations might flip flop, but nevertheless existing as it does is not satisfactory to me. And whether others might agree or disagree, I can have an impact in making it a better place. Is insignificant to whether I will or won't, or whether I'll be motivated by what they do and follow their suit. In reality, I want this done, and that's all I can count on. And I believe without a doubt that this can happen. I know that the world, and when I say world, I'm talking about people, generally have concepts of a power that's bigger than them, something that controls them and is essential in life, and they don't really know what. And for some, they call it a supernatural power, power of God, enabling all kinds of things to happen. And that is acceptable because it ties in with something that they don't understand, and the rest of the world disagree with it because it does nothing to support the efforts that they perceive in life. And you might ask yourself, why do they see it this way? And they would easily say, well, what is the church doing? And if the church isn't doing those things that they would consider divine, why? It's because they have been taught not to. Not to. And I'd just like to dwell on something like that for a moment. I think about the people in the church who have been taught that Jesus, especially in America, I don't know too much about I've heard about them, but I don't know too much about those other faiths or religious precepts to speak about them. But with Christianity, they say Jesus is the example, the ultimate example. That's that garbage truck again, who came to this earth representing another kingdom, representing another way of life, representing a new system, who comes to this earth to say to the people of this earth that they are following a God that robs them of the essential life of which they were designed to have. And in telling them this went against the system that existed, whether it was carnal, the world, or whether it had to do with religion and God, their beliefs in that. It was against the standing order, and it was not accepted. We've been taught that people who represent God serve God by believing that Jesus Christ went on the cross, submitted himself to be killed on the behalf of us, so that if we believed that he was killed on our behalf and say and confess with our mouths that we believe that he was the Son of God, and that by dying and accepting him, we are saved by that. And maybe certain things we'd have to cut out, mostly in the Christian community, is smoking and drinking and chasing the opposite sex. I mean, that never quits, but that's the concept. And so we have a Christianity that does too much of nothing. Even allows for slavery, and all the other kinds of sins and wars and stuff that goes on in the world. All of the things that goes on in the world, it allows it. And So the world continues, and I would think that when we look at the world and see that it's absent God to the degree that most of the world don't believe in God, we should ask ourselves why. We say the question is God real? And if God is real, then prove it. Prove it that God is real. And how do you prove God is real? You can't do that by doing what I just suggested you've been taught to do. That allows the devil to keep on stepping. Nobody who believes in hell is waiting to go to hell to experience hell. Hell is being created right here today. As far as we can see, heavenly is a thought. It's in our minds, just like hell is. And in order for a physical manifestation to exist, we, the people who accept that and that philosophy, have to walk according to the principles of that philosophy. That is what, if you believe in Jesus Christ, he will say that you can't serve two masters. You can't serve the system, the system of one master, and proclaim reality with the system, with the master of a different system. It doesn't work like that. You can keep saying that stuff, but that's like saying you drinking Jesus' blood. That's symbolic. So when you say that you're a Christian, now this is just my way of thinking now. I'm not asking you to think this way. This is my way of thinking. So when you say that you're a Christian and go to church and give your money to church and work with the choir and teach Bible studies, that's all symbolic. That has nothing to do with Jesus. Jesus says you walk. You do the things. This is the path to freedom. The path to freedom is to reject the bondage way of life. Reject the bondage way of life and walk according to the principles and the dictates of the freedom life. And it's going to go totally contradictory to the bondage way of life. But in walking the way of the freedom way of life, you recognize that you have your freedom and all others have theirs. You're not trying to take away anybody's freedom, but you're not going to let them take away yours. And if others recognize that you are being led by something dynamic that they would love to be a part of so that they can experience freedom too, that's on them. And that is an instrumentation in which you have just exercised by the Spirit being used in you so that that work might be done. But that's your goal, is to do what is right. You've heard it said that broad is the way. Broad is the way. When I think of broad is the way, talking about divine things, I'm talking about every denomination on the face of the earth. Every denomination on the face of the earth, all religions on the face of the earth are considered in that broadness. You hear me? All. I don't care how many of you pack together call yourselves cool because you're together and you're drawing each other. If you're packed together like that, and you're just broad on a broad strip, and that door that you're going to go through is wide, and it's going to lead you straight to the path of destruction, the path that we're living on today. And I want you to know that. And outside of that, if any of you, you've heard the expression, straight is the way, and narrow is the gate. Straight is the way, meaning you must have a relationship, but it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. You must know for yourself what is absolutely right, and you stick to whatever it is, and you show love everywhere you go. Oh, you're going to be hated, but you're an example. You are sharing the way, the principles of life. And it is this type of determination, it is this type of commitment that allows the world to change, not miraculously, but by your power. The power that you have to extend yourself beyond yourself by showing what you have learned. And so I say, if God is real, prove it. You prove the devil is real because he lives in what you do. Prove that God is real by letting him live in what you do. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I came close to that message that I got earlier, but it was a wonderful thing for me, and whether I was able to give it to you just like that, I hope you got what was being given. Until next time, Marcus Priest saying bye-bye.